Welcome back. So as the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign comes to an end, we thought let's profile a police officer whose relentless pursuit of justice has resulted in the convictions of multiple offenders, 2 life sentences and an additional 122 years for perpetrators of rape and child abuse. We're joined now by Detective Sergeant Nation Teffo, reportedly emerging stronger and more resilient as he overcame each hurdle and difficulty. He joins us now for more. Detective Sergeant Teffo, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. You know, quite often when we talk about gender-based violence in the country, we talk a little bit or a lot about how our police are simply not, getting a good grip on the problem, but you seem to have dedicated your life to getting it right. I think let's start off with perhaps why the passion for focusing on the family violence, child protection and sexual offences unit in Seshego. How did that come about?
You know, when I know that I can bring hope to the victims and their families, that motivates me to do my job to the best of my ability.
And so in 2013, you joined the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit. How did you choose it? And talk to me about the kind of cases that you found once you joined the unit.
When I joined this unit, I found cases where the victims are the vulnerable groups, the children, the disabilities, and also the elders. I found out that they did not have voice to voice out their problems. That gave me the motivation so that I'll be able to help them.
Yeah. So talk to me about how the unit actually functions, and so what some of your detective work would actually look like once you pick up a case. So the Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit, a case hits your desk. What is the process that you follow from then onwards?
When you receive a case of a sexual violence, you just have to sit down with the docket and read it, understand it. First thing, you approach the victim and you interview that victim. You make sure that you go to his or her level so that the person will be able to trust you, to give you more information that you need so that you can be able to link the suspect or the perpetrator of that offense with the offense that is being accused of.
Yeah, a few cases that you've had success in. One of those being of a Jeffrey Nwebe, 40 years old. He was charged with 2 counts of rape, sentenced to 2 life sentences. So talk to me about what you found in that particular case, and also, I suppose, the diligence in your work that was able to secure not just a conviction, but the sentencing as well.
Like I've said, most of our cases, the victims are minors. They are minors, and you find that when you refer to that case that you just mentioned, the accused was a family friend, was someone who's close to the family. The person was trusted, so he abused that trust, and also threatened the victim not to report this incident to their parent. That is why it was reported late to the police, but eventually after our intervention as the FCS of Seshego, we made sure that the victim trusts us so that she's able to give us everything that we need in order to link the accused person. That is how we managed to make sure that we secure those 2 life sentences.
Yeah, you say the victim, a minor in this particular case, afraid to report the issue, and so where it was reported quite late. Now, some easily argue that, well, in that case, it becomes very difficult to prove the rape because some of the, I suppose, physical evidence may no longer be there. So, how did you manage then to get that case right, where so many people argue that once it is reported late, it's very difficult to get to a prosecution and a conviction?
You know, in this line of work, you do not work alone. We involve the different departments, like the social department. We have a special forensic department within SAPS that assisted us to make sure that everything that is put on paper, everything that's going to be presented in court is up to par, is tangible to secure this 2 life sentences that we've secured.
Yeah, there's another case of someone in Seshego was imprisoned by the Seshego Regional Court for attempted rape at Matlala, Paleng. Talk to us about that case and what happened there.
In that case, the victim was on her way home, going home, when she noticed that the accused is following her. When the victim realized that, she began to run, and the accused person ran after her. He eventually caught her, and he brought her down to the ground and got on top of her, attempting to have sexual intercourse with her. Fortunately, a neighbor, there was a witness who was in her yard. The person came to the rescue. That's how the victim was not eventually raped.
Yeah, this individual was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. Very, very interesting work. Would you consider yourself as an ally for the fight against gender-based violence, or do you think of this as you would treat any other crime? So, is there a reason why you focus specifically on gender-based violence cases?
Like I've said, I've realized that many of our victims, they do not have a voice to voice out their problems. So me as a police officer, the police officials, I have to go there, be their voice, make sure that they get their strength back. Like what I mean is that make sure that we empower them so that they will be able to be free, live freely within our world.
Yeah. Good work. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and we appreciate the effort. I think a final message from you perhaps to our police officers on the importance of really doing the work to see that we do get to prosecutions and convictions of gender-based violence, which are so low in our country. What's your message to those police officers?
What I can say to them is that for you to be able to help these vulnerable groups or our victims, just put yourself in the victim's shoes. That's where you will know what is happening with that victim. That's where you'll understand the pain or the emotion that they are going through.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We really have appreciated your time. That there, Detective Sergeant Nation Teffo speaking to us from Polokwane, who has had great results in putting rapists behind bars and ensuring that that is where they stay, getting justice for some victims. Of course, you might know that the conviction rate of rape in our country sadly low. Some estimate it to be at around 14%. So every little bit making a massive difference.